Good morning. Okay, we're not going to be so serious and heavy today because that's just not really, it's not part of the journey. We're not trying to be serious and heavy and thick. What we're trying to do is learn what it is to be airy, go with the flow, kind of learn how to evaporate like water does, which will come into another video later on. But I was looking at black holes yesterday because why not? And I was basically what I like imagery and I like analogies and something that I can put kind of like a picture to what it is that I'm talking about to kind of make it make sense. And I was looking at black holes yesterday, so I'm just going to open that up again. What it says, I'm just looking at Wikipedia on this exact moment right here. A black hole is a region of space-time where gravity is so strong that nothing, no particles or even electromagnetic radiation such as light, can escape from it. The theory of general relativity predicts that a sufficiently compact mass can deform space-time to form a black hole. Okay, well that's interesting. You've heard of the saying you have a devil on your shoulder and an angel on your shoulder, or your dark side and your light side, your happy side, your sad side, all of these things. Well, in this exact moment, what I'm using the black hole to equate to your dark side, or my dark side, personally. Because when I was in my darkest moments in life, no, I wasn't giving out any of my light at all. Wasn't able to grasp the concept even of random acts of smiling, because in those moments I just didn't feel like smiling. That felt fake to me in the moment because I was currently sitting in a lack mentality. Oh, woe is me. Why is this happening to me? That sort of thing, instead of looking at why is this happening for me? What is this changing for me? What lesson am I supposed to learn from this to grow? Instead of seeing it that way, I couldn't even allow light in, never mind push light out. Right? So, how is a black hole, like how does a black hole die then? You know what I mean? Like if we are going to be in that negative sense or the lack mentality, how do we squash it? What do we do to squash it? A black hole, eventually, as the universe ages, the material around a black hole will run out and its doomsday clock will start ticking. As the black hole evaporates, it slowly shrinks, and as it loses mass, the rate of particles escaping the rate of particles escaping also increases until the remaining energy escapes all at once. So if I'm going to look at that in the same sense of like a dark period of my life, or this lack mentality chunk, however many years that was or is for anyone else, that does actually make sense, because eventually you stop listening to negative opinions that are coming in at you about you, and eventually you stop looking at how any comment made by anyone else could be received as a slight instead of a piece of constructive criticism. Instead of it being criticism when we're sad, it's constructive criticism when you're happy. So then I wanted to know, like, well, what's the opposite of a black hole? And apparently, not apparently, but no, apparently, there is a theoretical opposite of a black hole, which is called a white hole, theoretically speaking. As black holes draw in surrounding stars, dust, and passing spaceships, or whatever comes near, white holes, by definition, would radiate light. So, well, that's interesting in itself, because a white hole can only be entered from the outside and from, energy matter, light. I'm just going to read this for a second because I have to read it out loud in order to understand it. In this sense, it is the reverse of a black hole, which can be entered only from the outside and from which energy matter, light, and information cannot escape. White holes appear in the theory of eternal black holes. So a black hole cannot be entered from the outside, and energy matter, light, and information cannot escape. So if you're in your black hole state, you would be keeping your thoughts and emotions and your feelings to yourself. And someone trying to give you like a positive comment, you're really pretty, I love your smile, or your eyes are really nice, or those jeans look great on you, instead of being able to receive that as is, because as a black hole, you can't enter from the outside, right? So, which can be entered only from the outside. Yeah, okay, so from a black hole, you can only receive things from the outside, but anything that's on the inside stays there. So what happens is basically like you end up with all of these thoughts and feelings and emotions just kind of like swirling on the inside, creating what people like to call a tiny black heart, my little black heart, or my little frozen heart, something like that. But like, okay, so when I'm saying the black hole thing, I would call the black hole phase of your life a living death. By definition, a living death is a state of existence that's very difficult, a life of hopelessness and unbroken misery. The pity party, the why is this happening to me, poor me, woe is me, and always focusing on the not so happy aspects of anything, projecting it inwards to yourself, and eventually kind of letting it explode at people randomly, like small explosions of emotion. Something like that. Interesting. Well, how is a star born? A star is born when atoms of light elements are squeezed under pressure, under enough pressure for their nuclei to undergo fusion. All stars are the result of a balance of forces. The force of gravity compresses atoms in interstellar gas until the fusion reactions begin. So that's really interesting. So if one was to be in their white hole phase of life, they are working with light elements that, of happiness and joy, contentment, maybe even good health. Maybe the health part doesn't quite make a huge difference because it's kind of, I mean, it is and it isn't, but it's a mind over matter thing. Matter. Okay. So if you're working on, or you're working with your light aspects, that whole angel on your shoulder thing, I don't know why I did air quotes, but the whole angel on your shoulder thing, or using your light side or your happier side or your open-minded side, eventually what happens is you have enough of this that these light elements of yourself are squeezed under enough pressure that the nuclei undergo a fusion, creating almost a fountain. I'm going to call that the fountain of youth. We're going to call that the fountain of youth, actually. Because if you're working under all of these light aspects of yourself and you're pushing away anything that might be negative, there's still going to be pressure. You're going to receive pressure from people from your outside, from coworkers, colleagues, bosses, clients, even people in traffic, and all of these things. If you're working from, let's say, your higher self, eventually you do undergo this pressurized position when you realize that your state of mind and you being happy is so much more important to you than so many things that used to be important to you. It's like the triangle changes. What's really important as opposed to what might not be. It kind of does a flip-flop. Because at that point, you're really determining what suits your purpose, what is best for your personal growth, and what makes you happy. What are you going to avoid because you know it doesn't make you happy, you know it makes you frustrated, or you know it triggers you, or you know it gives you anxiety, or you know all of these things. And I don't mean like, I don't want to go to the grocery store anymore because it gives me anxiety. Well, you still have to go to the grocery store. At that point, what you want to do is you want to be able to look at your anxiety in that moment and push it to a different job. Basically, the job of anxiety is to keep you safe. Right? It's a survival tactic. That's what it is. It's a survival tactic of human beings. We're not weird or crazy or... And keep in mind, all of these are just labels. The only reason there are labels is because there are too many people who don't understand and they need to put you in a box. If you're not in a box, it's too confusing. It's too open, and it doesn't make sense to everyone, right? But at the same token, labels really aren't that beneficial for the human brain, for your personal ego, your you. Because when an unevolved ego, which is all of us, when an unevolved ego is presented with a label that it may or may not resonate with, can have a super adverse effect on that particular person. Instead of saying to somebody, you have clinical anxiety, you're going to have this forever, here's some pills. Instead of doing that, and I'm not saying don't do that, I'm not saying that's a negative thing, that is an option. It's a beautiful option, it's there. The only reason we have options is because someone cared enough to make one available. Keep that in mind. Someone cared enough to make it available. But what if we were taught at a very young age how the hormones in your body really work and what kind of a level they're sitting at? Anxiety, for example, I'm going to use this one right now because we're already on the topic. But anxiety sits at the exact same level as excitement. They're right there. So if in a moment where your anxiety starts to build and your stomach churns and you end up with dry mouth or a lump in your throat or IBS, irritable bowel syndrome, whatever, all these different physical adverse effects that happen from anxiety. If we were taught at a younger age that we had control over these particular hormones and how they affect our body, would we be able to actually control them more so as we're growing? Okay, we're going to go back with the anxiety one. When I'm in a situation and I'm feeling anxiety coming on, I know right away I don't want to have an anxiety attack. I don't want to be stopped in what it is that I set out to do, because that is backwards motion for me. And I don't want to give in to anxiety anymore. I don't want to do that. This is my body. So instead I look at the situation and I look around and I see, where am I? Okay. Am I safe? Am I with safe people? Is there anyone around that I can trust to talk to? Is there a reason for me to feel like I am in danger? Where you're going to lose your life, like real danger. Or where something super terrible could happen to you or another person that is involved in the situation, right? Anxiety is there for a reason. It's a survival tactic. But when it's been misused inside our body for so many years, the brain is just confused and sends the first bit of information out that it can find. And generally speaking, that comes from a bit of a PTSD kind of place where your brain is able to grasp a negative thought quicker than it is a positive thought. And I'm going to get into that in another video of why that is. But right now, let's continue moving with this one. So in those moments, I ask if I'm safe. Is there anyone around that I can talk to? Are the people around me making me feel safe? If the answer to all three of those things is yes, then I know right away my body is confused. So I immediately start talking to myself, either in my head or out loud. Brittany, you are okay. This is a new situation. You've never done this before, and that can be a little bit nerve-wracking. But you are safe. You are with safe people. And this situation is going to help you grow. Do you want to grow? Yes. What's stopping you? Me. Okay. Well, if that's the case, what are we going to do about it? Remember why you started. Why did you get here? Because I really wanted to learn how to rock climb, for example. I really wanted to learn how to rock climb. Yes, it's a little scary, but I really wanted to learn how to do it anyway. So I'm going to do that. Because how many hours is it really going to take? What kind of an investment am I putting into this situation? Well, I know that I have 24 hours in a day. Am I going to invest one of those hours to myself in learning a new skill? Or am I going to invest 1 to 7 hours on an anxiety attack? Because those are my options that I know of for me personally. Well, one definitely outweighs the other one, right? So I talk to myself and turn my anxiety back into excitement. Why are you here? What am I doing? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I want to learn something new. Yeah, okay. And then it starts to change a little bit. Which is a beautiful thing. Oh, here, okay. Oh, okay. You know how when you get really upset about something, someone makes a comment to you, or you find something out and you get really upset and your jaw starts to clench and your hands move into a fist, and your shoulders come up or your shoulders go back and your chest puffs out, and you get like this flush of heat in your face. Your face may even go red and all that, like when you're upset, when you're mad. Well, adversely, when someone gives you a compliment and says something like, you have beautiful eyes, like you have beautiful eyes, oh my goodness. Or says, thank you so much, oh my goodness, thank you so much for doing blank, blank, blank. I didn't expect anyone to come and help me today, and I really appreciate that you did that. You didn't have to do that. That kind of a comment will do exactly the opposite as being angry. Your shoulders relax. Your face forms a smile. You may blush, which makes your cheeks pink, or your face red, or your face flush. And your hands open. They just naturally kind of open, or aw, right? A lot of us don't know how to take a compliment, so we blush, which is still a good thing. It's cute. It's just cute. But you see the difference there? Like the body is essentially sending out the same hormones. But your brain is confused on what it's supposed to do with those in the moment because it doesn't know if you are safe or not. It's still working off of that old tribe mentality, brain evolution that humanity has had for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of years. However long humanity has been around, we've been working on the same thing. It's all survival, right? But when we have to look around and see the changes in our life, do we still need those same survival tactics? Am I using it correctly still? Is there another way that I could use it? Is there another way I could look at it and change it maybe? I think so. Because I'm a smart little cookie. And yes, you are. You are a smart little cookie, no matter who you are. You definitely are. It's kind of like just standing up and being recognized by yourself, to yourself, and being confident in your own presence, feeling your own feelings and listening to yourself. That whole 2 ears, 1 mouth thing that I was talking about the other day. And giving yourself a real shot, a real chance. You know, like what is the dance of life? Why do we actually not dance like nobody's watching? You know the saying, I dance like nobody's watching. But that's usually when nobody's watching. Or when we're intoxicated in one way or another. Using an escapism, you know what I mean? Because we do that. It's kind of like the dancing like nobody is watching sentiment belongs to like a Harry Potter character, Luna Lovegood. Right? She's all free and fancy and just living life all on her own terms. But here's a question. When's the last time you actually looked for the nargles? If you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. When's the last time you actually looked for the stuff that you can't see? When's the last time you tried to listen to the stuff that you can't see? Just because you can't see it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Doesn't mean that it's not there. Just because you can't see a smile on your face doesn't mean that it doesn't want to be there. Because it does. It just feels better on your face. It feels better on your forehead, on your temples and all of that. You use a lot less muscles smiling than you do frowning, especially crying. Woo! We use a lot of muscles when we cry. But it's also a healthy thing to be able to cry. It's a healthy thing to want to cry. You don't have to cry in front of other people, but you can get to that whole cry me a river, build me a bridge, and get over it. But what we're working on is to cry me a river, build myself a bridge, run over that thing with a tank of gasoline, and then on the other side, light a match and flick it over, and never cross it again. Just never cross it ever again. It's gone. Poof! Like a fart in the wind. Yeah. But we have to get to the point where we can see whether or not we are our own black hole right now. If we can't even get to the point where we can see our black hole, chances are we might be one. I heard, actually, you know what? I heard on a YouTube video, and I cannot remember who it was. So if anybody knows, please put a comment below, because I can't remember who it was at all. But they made a comment that if you meet more than one a-hole in a day, you might be the a-hole. But that's so true. It's so true. You know, we do grid work as human beings. We all. When I say grid work, okay, grid work. This kind of paper, right? Okay. Grid paper or grid work. You can look at a map, a physical map, and then put a grid over it, right? Like on Google Maps, and it'll have the hash marks. But when you are interacting with people, or even not interacting and just entering a space, whatever energy you're personally personally holding in that exact moment, you emit that same thing, even if you don't mean to. You know, like if you're having a bad day and you go to work and someone says, "Are you okay?" And you're like, "Yeah, I'm fine. Why?" Meanwhile, in your head, you know that you've had quite a rough morning, or a really rough last night, or the last 2 weeks, or the last 6 years, however it was. And you think you're coming in with a smile, but somebody else can physically feel. They can physically feel it in the air that you are not happy. Something is up. That's grid work. So when you enter a space with a lack mentality or a that's not even fair, really. When you enter a space with a negative emotion, or a sad emotion, or an angry emotion, or a very frustrated emotion, or even overwhelmed emotion, what ends up happening is, one by one, the people around you will try to cheer you up, and as it doesn't work, they will start to take on your energy. It's that whole misery loves company thing. You've heard about that. Misery loves company. It's true, it does. If I can't make you happy, guess I'll be sad with you. At least we're together. But that's called trauma bonding, and that doesn't help anyone. Now you're just both sad in the space, or all 6 of you are sad in the space, or however that works. The exact opposite can happen with someone in a really good mood comes into your space. Like, for example, if you even went into a gas station to get gas and the person behind the counter was just the most cheerful little cherub there ever was, and you're just like, oh, You're having a good day, huh? And they're like, yeah, I am having a good day. I hope you do too. Can I get you anything else? And you're like, no, I'm good, thank you. And you leave with a smile on your face. That smile is now you in your car and you're driving. And some driver sees you smiling. They smile back. Now they're smiling. And they're enjoying the moment. And then another car comes and they smile at them. And back and forth and all of that. Pardon me, sorry about that. And it just kind of happens like that. It's like a snowball effect. It's a snowball effect. And 11:11 on the clock. Look at that. A snowball effect, right? But the same thing happens for positive or negative. However you're going to use your energy, you're doing grid work. You are a grid worker. As a human being, you are a grid worker. Think about that for just a second. Like, your personal energy can affect so many different things and so many people and so many different situations that you have nothing to do with, and you'll never even know that you had an impact. You'll never even know. And it doesn't matter. As long as it's a positive one. If it's a negative one, that's unfortunate. It is. Same with receiving that. That is unfortunate. But at the same token, it's a good space where we can say, huh, interesting. What do I want to learn from this? Huh. And knowing that you're a grid worker, when you go into a gas station next time and the person working behind the counter looks like they're in a grumpy mood, why don't you just take a second to say, hey, I hope you're having a good day. Something along that line. I really like your earrings. Or, you've been really great with customer service today, and I haven't had that in a while. I just wanted to say thank you. You're doing a good job at what you do. And I appreciate that you're here. Thank you. That can go so far that it's incredible. It's incredible. What do we want to do with our days? Do we want to be incredible? Do we want to work on incredible? I am an incredible force. You are an incredible force. Hi. What are you doing with your day? Leave a comment. Let me know what you're doing with your day. Does any of this resonate with you? You've had any moments like that where it just really does feel like a pay it forward, but all you did was lift your cheeks? I hope so. Either way, this is where we're leaving it today. And I hope this was a bit helpful, at least somewhat helpful for you, because me talking is helping me. And I like that. Works for me. Okay. Bye.